Friend of Ag? You are if you're a member of any ag organization employed by any ag-related business, including research, inputs, manufacturing, sales, and marketing, and of course, ag education. Come in, order yours today. BombChevyBuick.com, right from the start.
I'm Craig Pollock with Pastorius Farms, and this is my John Deere. Pastorius Farms is a 7th generation corn and soybean operation located in central Illinois. In my opinion, what makes Sloan stand out for me is the service, the support. They're your farming partner, because without them, we can't keep running during our busiest seasons. When things are out of their hands, they've always been able to keep us going. I'm Craig Pollock with Pastorius Farms, and this is why I think Sloan's first.
Introducing Kyber soybean herbicide from Corteva Agroscience, the newest premium Group 15 pre-emergent solution. Kyber delivers 3 effective modes of action for long-lasting residual activity, meaning your fields won't just be clean, they'll be Kyber clean. And what is Kyber clean? Well, it's a little like...
Nice fields.
See the difference at kyberherbicide.com/soy. That's KYBER herbicide.com/soy.
MR Systems Wireless is your local internet provider for Clinton and surrounding area. They have the products you want and the local service you deserve. MR Systems Wireless Internet service for home or business includes unlimited data, unlimited streaming, and unlimited calling. Plans start at just $48 a month. And get a free Roku 4-lease with our media packages. Get the speed you need with MR Systems Wireless. Call them at 935-2100. That's 935-2100 for MR Systems Wireless.
Your friend in Central Illinois. WHOW.
Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show is streaming to Facebook and YouTube. It's brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Joining us on this segment of the program is Miller Media Group President and WHOW President Randall J. Miller. Good morning, Randy. How are you?
Good morning, Seth. I'm great, and it's another beautiful day in Central Illinois, and glad to be with you.
Well, we appreciate you making time for us. And, Randy, let's dive into this 75th celebration. Just remind us, what's going on? What's this all about?
Well, it's not very often that a radio station can celebrate 75 years of being on the air, and WHOW is celebrating its 75th anniversary this year, and I have decided that this is another way for us to not only celebrate 75 years of WHOW being on the air, but celebrate that by giving back. And in our company, in the years that I've had it, I've tried to instill in our staff and in everyone that we're here to serve, we're here to give back. And this is going to be our way of giving back. By holding what we're calling our WHOW 75th anniversary Gala Banquet to celebrate our station's anniversary. It's going to be Saturday, November 12th at the Clinton Country Club. Social hours at 5:30, dinner is 6:30, and then we're going to premiere our WHOW 75th anniversary video at 7:30. And I finally got the video storyboard done. It took about 4.5 hours to glean through just an unbelievable amount of both digital assets and audio assets that I've been able to collect in the 15 years that I've been owner of WHOW. We're going to have special entertainment that night. During the social hour and dinner is a gal, Central Illinois gal. She grew up in Verdon, which is just south of Springfield, Gracia Harrison. She appeared in season 3 of NBC's The Voice, and she's going to be bringing her unique styling of country music to our banquet that night, and she does it with her voice and an acoustic guitar. That's it.
Fabulous.
Yeah, I've heard her. She's phenomenal, and it'll be worth the night just to listen to her because she is great. We're going to serve a sit-down served meal. This is going to be a yummy meal: 8-ounce butterfly applewood pork chop. We're going to have salad with dressing, baked potatoes, Southern-style green beans, rolls, and a piece of the WHOW 75th anniversary cake. There's actually 2 of them. One will be white. One will be chocolate because the biggest sheet cake that Clinton IGA bakes is for 50 people. And we're hoping to have, this will be at the Clinton Country Club, and they have room for 150. So that's what our limit is 150. So we are hoping to be able to fill that place up. So we've ordered one gigantic white sheet cake, one gigantic chocolate sheet cake, and they're both going to have the WHOW 75th anniversary logo on them. And we're paying for everything that night. And that means that all the ticket sales are going to go to 2 local causes, and we've selected the Neighborhood Care Center's no-fee grocery shopping, which allows those in need locally to get groceries to feed their family. And from what Cody Monkman's been telling you on our morning show and also in my visits with him, the need continues to grow. And the other is going to be the Clinton High School Student Activity Fund. We're working with Principal Jerry Wayne to provide students the opportunities to be successful and purchase items for students in need. For if there's a student that can't afford something, that Student Activity Fund helps fund it. Tickets are $50 each. Table of eight's $360. The tickets are being sold at the Clinton High School office. Missy Copel is taking care of that. So if you go by the high school, you can get your tickets there. And again, all the proceeds, all of them, are going to be split between the Neighborhood Care Center's no-fee grocery shopping and the Clinton High School Student Activity Fund.
Very good. Randy Miller is the president of the Miller Media Group, our guest, on the phone here for this morning. And so, Randy, tell me a little bit about this special video that folks are going to get to see at 7:30. You mentioned you've been working tirelessly to find all sorts of goodies to put into this video. How about this video? What's going to be going into it?
Well, it's great. We've had several anniversary events on air in the 15 years that I've owned WHOW. We had a 60th anniversary that we celebrated a bit late. It was right after we took over the station. That was in 2008. And then we had a 65th anniversary and a 70th anniversary. Those were on-air celebrations. And every time we did those, listeners from all over the area either brought by or emailed me or sent me all sorts of pictures and audio. I was able to find a couple of CDs online from WHOW's early years. WHOW was one of the prominent country and Western music radio stations, and bluegrass too, in central Illinois from the time it went on the air in 47 clear up into the 80s. So there's a lot of local history there because a lot of local people performed on WHOW. This is back when the studios were above the former Cannonballs department store on the south side of the square, and these bands would be scheduled by the radio station and play in 15 or 30-minute increments. And that's how they got their gigs to play at the local VFW or American Legion or favorite tavern on the weekend. But let's rewind the tape even further because it was a group of local people that decided that Clinton needed a radio station. And this I got from the history cards from the FCC website, and we're going to show these as part of the video that night. Dr. Keith Ray, Esco Ray, T.S. Dinsmore, Frank Moots, and Rex Ray. They all came together and filed as Corn Belt Broadcasting. How do you like that for a name? Corn Belt Broadcasting.
Fitting.
They filed to put on a new radio station at 1520 on the dial, and that filing took place July 18th, 1946. And one of these guys, and I haven't nailed down which one, actually owned the ground where the radio station is, and that's why they decided to put the tower there, because they own the ground and went, hey, we'll just take 5 acres out of what I own, and that's where we'll put the tower. Mm-hmm. And then the studios were on the Clinton Square. So that's just an example. Let me throw around some other names here. Let's see here. In 1950, Ray Livesey of Mattoon, he had just built WLBH down in Mattoon in 1946. He bought the station from those other guys I just mentioned, and he headed a group that included Roland Looper, Frank Jennings, and some of the staff back then that we found pictures of include Mary Jane Jackson, Jim Williams, Jack Carson, Mary Jane Jackson was receptionist. Jim Williams was the commercial manager. Jack Carson was the program director. Bill Wilson, Joe Cronso, and Alonzo Noonan, and I've heard that name before in the 15 years I've been in Clinton. They were the engineers. They took 3 engineers to keep WHOW on the air back then. And let's see what else here. Charles Presley Jr., he did the news. Sonny Slater, he booked the country and western acts. Bob Moore took care of the record library. So contrary to what other people were telling me that that the station didn't play a record before 61, they did play records.
Mm-hmm.
They did play records from the time they went on the air. And I've got a picture that we'll put in the video of Bob Moore grabbing a record out of the record library. Jim Crowell did play-by-play sports. And many of these people not only were station employees, but they were musicians themselves. So if they didn't have a band for a particular slot, a 15 or 30-minute slot, they picked up their instruments and they sang, which was amazing.
Yeah.
And they called these programs when they had to do a program. One of them was called RFD 1520. Another one was called the Bunkhouse Jamboree. But this basically was when, if they didn't have a band to play, they picked up their instrument and played themselves.
That's wild.
Those are just some of the names.
Yeah, for sure. And you mentioned, Randy, of course, that WHOW is where you talked about a lot of people came to get their, to get their recognition or get their name out, and that was kind of the starting point for a lot of bands, a lot of individuals. How about that aspect of the history of our station?
It wasn't, and you're fast forwarding on the video, which is wonderful. And there were 2 names among all of the others that I have done research on. One of them was John Hartford, who was on the air on WHOW. I think he played banjo. That was the same John Hartford that was on the Glenn Campbell show in the 60s. He was discovered on WHOW. And the other is the Sangamon Valley Boys and the Bray Brothers. Those 2 groups, they were some of the most famous or well-known country western acts in the 50s and 60s. And I believe it was the Bray Brothers that ended up on, and I've got a picture of this, on WSM in Nashville, which is that is when you play on the Grand Ole Opry, you've arrived. So yes, there were some acts that made it all the way to Nashville and made it all the way to be on WSM.
You mentioned I fast forwarded a little bit on the video for you. Was there something prior to this you wanted to put out there for us?
Well, there was one guy, and here's a name that everybody's going to remember because I still hear it mentioned today. And that is in 1942. We're going to rewind the tape again. 1942, Ray Livesey, who ended up buying the station in 1950, he worked with a young man on WDZ in Tuscola. They had a studio. They had studios in like 4 towns back then. We're talking in the 40s. One of those studios were in Effingham, and the young man's name was Johnny Barton. Mm-hmm. And that was his air name. That wasn't his real name, but his air name was Johnny Barton. And the 2 of them met when they worked at WDZ Tuscola's Effingham studio in 1942. Okay, so July 1950, Livesey buys WHOW. Guess who he hires? Guess who he hires to be on the air?
Johnny Barton.
Johnny Barton. There you go. And Johnny Barton turned into Uncle Johnny Barton, and the rest is history because his name is probably the most pronounced among all the names that I researched about the history of WHOW.
When you go to things like the Apple and Pork Festival, Randy, or the Chamber of Commerce Business Expo, how many times do you hear the name Johnny Barton from folks that walk by our booth?
Over and over again. And I have a lot of audio in this 75th anniversary video. A lot of audio from Uncle Johnny that we're going to play.
Very good. Randy, let's take a break here. You mentioned tickets for this 75th celebration Saturday, November 12th are on sale now. Where do folks get those?
At the Clinton High School office, tickets are $50 for singles, table of eights $360, social hour 5:30, dinner 6:30, program 7:30, which is the showing of the premiere of our WHOW 75th anniversary video. and all of the ticket sales we're going to split because we're paying for the night, and all the proceeds benefit the Clinton Neighborhood Care Center No Fee Grocery and the Clinton High School Student Activity Fund. It'll be at the Clinton Country Club, catered event, wonderful meal. Gracia Harrison's going to perform. It's going to be a special night.
Miller Media Group President Randall J. Miller, our guest on the phone. More with him coming up on the WHOW Morning Show.
WHOW.
Let's face it, nobody likes to compromise. When it comes to your soybean fields, you shouldn't have to choose between powerful weed control and keeping your crops safe from stress and injury. Thankfully, there's Tendovo, a broad-spectrum pre-emergence herbicide formulated to fight weeds without sacrificing crop safety, delivering a higher potential yield for your fields. Tendovo, raising the pre-emergence bar one clean row at a time. Always read and follow label directions. Please check with your local extension service to ensure registration status.
Ever walk across your cornfield and find a nice surprise, like that favorite vice grip that fell off the planter last spring? Well, soon you might just come up on an even bigger treasure. More corn, thanks to Acuron herbicide. Acuron gives you 5 to 15 more bushels an acre than any other herbicide when used in a pre-emergence application at full label rates. Talk to your Syngenta retailer or visit findmorebushels.com. Acuron Yield Advantage range based on 2016 Syngenta and University trials. Always read and follow label instructions. Acuron is a restricted use pesticide.
You want to feel important.
You want to be part of something bigger, something that matters and can help change things.
You want to feel like you belong.
We know. We felt that way too. And that's why we did something about it.
We aren't just Army National Guard soldiers.
We are normal people just like you. But our part-time service in the Army National Guard means we get to be more.
When our communities are in need, we get the chance to stand up and do something about it.
We get to serve in our own region and help the people we call neighbors.
From the lake shores of Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Minnesota,
the fertile fields of Indiana, Illinois, and Iowa, to the wide open plains of North and South Dakota.
We are here for our hometowns.
And together, we can make a difference. Take on your legacy. Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more.
Sponsored by the Illinois Army National Guard, aired by the Illinois Broadcasters Association and this station.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Once again, a good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Miller Media Group President Randall J. Miller on the phone with us. We're talking the 75-year anniversary of WHOW. It comes up Saturday, November 12th at the Clinton Country Club. Social hour begins at 5:30. Dinner served at 6:30. Special program video that Randy is working on putting together at 7:30, I should say. And Randy, we touched on good Uncle Johnny Barton, and we joked, folks walk by, whether we're at Apple and Pork Festival, the Chamber of Commerce Business Expo, wherever we go and we set up, it almost doesn't matter the community. People know WHOW for Johnny Barton.
Seth, I think those call letters and Uncle Johnny Barton are synonymous with each other. And going back to the chronology of WHOW, which is going to be shown in the video that we premiere on November 12th for our 75th anniversary banquet. Ray Livesey, the owner of the station, hires Barton. He was 33 years old. He was working at a station in Harrisburg, Virginia. And Livesey hires him to go to work at WHOW. He was 33 years old. And under Livesey's ownership, Barton being on the air, WHOW just went bang in terms of its popularity as a country western radio station. And I'm going to put a set of parentheses here. Bluegrass played a great part in WHOW's history too. But they just, with Livesey owning it, Barton basically running the show in terms of programming, Barton took that station into the stratosphere in terms of its popularity, and he had a country western band that went on the road as Corn Belt Country Style. And for folks that remember that name, that was also the name of his TV show. He had two versions of his TV show. One was on what used to be a WBLN, a former TV station in Bloomington that went dark. And then in the 60s, late 60s, he resurrected the show, and it was, I believe, is on Channel 17 out of Decatur for a lot of years. But that was another way that Johnny helped promote WHOW. And there were also many other country and western bands that performed. Red Cravens, the Bray Brothers. We've got audio. I found some CDs online of them performing on WHOW along with Uncle Johnny Barton doing some introductions and live commercials. We're going to hear that as part of the 75th anniversary video. And let's see, I'm just scrolling down the video storyboard. Uncle Johnny's wife, Clara May, sang with him for a lot of years. They did a lot of albums together. She died in 64, but we're going to feature some of Uncle Johnny and Clara May's music as well.
Huh.
And there was one song that Uncle Johnny sang that got requested more than anything else in the late 60s. This was at the time of the Vietnam War, and it was called The American Serviceman. And we're going to play that song as part of the 75th video because back in those days, people were requesting it a lot. Then we're going to fast forward to when we did some of our anniversary shows, and we'll have audio from Denny Sarver. He was with the group Sangamon Valley Boys. We have also Little Joe and Uncle Johnny and Clara May Barton's daughter, Margie. Little Joe and Margie Singer. Margie was Uncle Johnny's daughter, and they performed on HOW starting in 56. And this is audio. Bill Ward, 50-year employee, did the news, did some sales. We'll have audio from him and from an interview that we did with him, that Jared did with him in 08. And with the singers we interviewed also in 08. And Reverend J.C. Dove, he had a religious program twice a day on WHOW from January 1950 into the 70s. We got some pictures of them. I don't have any audio, but it's amazing. Ozzie Pearl did a square dance show every Saturday morning. 25 years he was on. We've got portions of an audio interview with him. There's so much rich history that is in the station, and this is all going to be a part of our 75th video.
Well, Randy, I look at the clock. We've only got about a minute left here with you this morning. I'd like to, at some point between now and November 12th, I'd like to hear how you were able to hunt down some of this stuff in terms of the the audio, the artifacts. I know when you took the place over, there was probably still a lot of things here. And so I'm just kind of curious what you stumbled upon as you bought WHOW, but let's save that for another day. Before we wrap up, just remind us again, the when, the where, how folks get tickets, and who this event is benefiting.
Absolutely. Saturday, November 12th, Clinton Country Club, social hour 5:30, dinner 6:30, premiere of our 75th anniversary video 7:30, special entertainment from Gracia Harrison, who appeared on The Voice, sit-down meal, includes pork chop, salad with dressing, baked potato, green beans, rolls, and a piece of our 75th anniversary cake. We're paying for all the expenses so that all ticket sales go to, and we're going to split this between neighborhood care centers, no-fee grocery shopping, and the Clinton High School Student Activity Fund. Tickets $50 each. Table of eight's $360. Tickets are at the Clinton High School office, and stop by and see Missy Coble.
That is Miller Media Group President Randall J. Miller joining us here on the WHOW Morning Show. We're talking the 75th celebration of WHOW. Again, comes up Saturday, November 12th. The morning show streams to Facebook and YouTube. Brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin insurance agent in Clinton.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. No relief in sight to the ravages of inflation. The Labor Department's just released Producer Price Index shows that wholesale inflation rose 8.5%.